Alright guys, here we go. I decided, as you already see from the title, I'm reviewing Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, Forge of Excellence, but I'm not doing both shows back to back. That's 6 hours. Just going through the 3 hours that I did for the first one, I thought, no, there's too much stuff here, and there's easily I'm going to get things mixed up more than I'm going to be just for night one. So I am not doing night 1 and 2. I'm doing them separately. So today, this Friday, it is being done. Then I'll see if I can get it done Saturday or Sunday, night 2, if you guys still want to see this. But I'm going to say this before I start talking about this show, and it's a lot to talk about. Knowing that TNA and AEW were willing to contribute their wrestlers to Maple Leaf Pro says a lot about Scott D'Amore. I'm saying this right now. You don't have to like Scott. I was never a big fan of Scott. As you guys have always known, I've always been critical on how he did his production. And that shows here. But I will tell you, I take nothing away from his passion, that he cares about pro wrestling. And due to the fact that he cares about pro wrestling, the current staff in TNA had to probably convince the new president, hey, let's loan our people out to him. And also give video footage from our own show. Because remember, courtesy of TNA was there. Tony Khan the same way. Since Tony did work with Scott D'Amore when Kenny Omega came. He also contributed something from AEW and ROH. So, I gotta say this. Scott has made some good friends in both companies, that even though whatever happened in Anthem and the CEO of Anthem basically getting rid of him, there are other people there that were still, at least with some influence or respect, were willing to lend their people to his show for the 2 nights, his 2-night show. So this is something. I will tell you that. Now, I'm not going to wait until the end of this review because I don't know how long I'm going to make this. This might be no longer than 10 to 15 minutes because I'm not going to be heavily detailed in the matches. There's a lot of people I don't know, a lot of people I do know. And my thoughts are more about what these people represent more than the matches itself. Because remember, this is not about how great the match quality is of Maple Leaf Pro. This is about who is going to show up at Maple Leaf Pro. But as it stands right now, there was a lot of botchiness when it came to production. Audio was glitching on and off. Camera work was a bit sloppy. As well as when it came to the ring entrances. When it came to the music, the ring entrances for the music or the video packages or the people in the back going to do interviews, there was a lot of botching and glitchiness. Now you could easily say, well, they just started up. And you're right. I'm not going to totally shit on the thing because this is the first show that Scott's made with new people and probably older people he knows in this situation. This is brand new. I cannot shit on it. Not for night 1 and definitely not for night 2. But I must bring it up so you understand that even though these are brand new, this is a brand new company. Brought back after so many years being gone. And he had to get either people he already knew or brand new people, and he's got to get them to work together. I am not glazing over it. I'm not. But I'm going to tell you, this is a Scott D'Amore production. And things like this has happened a lot in Impact Wrestling. So you're going to have to take this with a grain of salt. You have to. I will tell you this. The first 3 matches were alright. We got people mixing from New Japan Pro Wrestling who also doubled in AEW. We also got some TNA guys. In the very first matches, we had Stu Grayson. We had Josh Alexander. We had, who else was there? Trevor Lee, who just was released from NXT, who's now in the independent scene again. We have, who else did we get? Rocky Romero was there as well from AEW. We had Zach. I can't remember the guy's last name, but Zach. We got several people who now look like they're going to be working for MPW now. but it's going to be a big question how far they're going to go with them. That match was all right. AEW, and supposedly he's not supposed to be working with AEW, but he did have the graphic for it, for AEW. And then we see Gunjer, who I haven't seen in many, many, many months. Obindo Gunjer. Haven't seen him in a while. It's good to see him. And I've been wondering where he's been. Maybe he's been injured, or maybe he's been training, or maybe he's been working in another promotion. I don't know. But it was good to see him. But I didn't expect QT Marshall to lose. From what I remember from what was being reported, QT is actually in negotiation with TNA to become a member of their roster or a member of the production. I don't know which one. I just remember that was reported months ago. So I don't know which one it's going to be. Now, he did have Harley Cameron with him. So whatever connection he still has with AEW, as far as I know, unless he's re-signed with AEW, he's going to be leaving soon. He's doing negotiations or considering negotiation with TNA. So seeing Harley Cameron there was all right. Of course, he was going to win. Now, we had a fatal four-way match with the women. The one that two women I recognized was Taylor Rising and Kylie Ray, who I had not seen in many years. We had not seen her in maybe 2.5, maybe 3 years after she had her meltdown and she had the problems with her drug addiction. I think that was about 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. We had not seen her. Now, supposedly, she's back and she's a mom. I do not know how old the child is, but supposedly she's a mom. Good for her. If she's with somebody finally and now she has a kid, maybe she'll be more grounded, and her anxiety and possibly depression, she'll be able to hopefully get more help to work with it with her possibly boyfriend or husband. And if she wants to be a mom to a daughter, she's got to work on it. So it's good to see her back, and hopefully she can keep it together. But I was not surprised that she won the match. Now, supposedly her former, what was her former partner? Lucky or Luck? I don't remember her. The other two I don't recognize. I would have to watch MLP to know. And that reminds me, when they showed a graphic for the third match, I believe it was the third match. Or was it the fourth match? I think it might have been the third or fourth match. They showed a graphic, instead of being Maple Leaf Pro, it was like, what was it? Leaf Maple Pro. That was supposedly the graphic they showed. That shows more production problems. Their computer graphics showed, LMP instead of MLP. It's like, and you could hear Morinaro trying to compensate for it because he's reading what they gave him. Now, mind you, I want to say this. Don Callis and Morinaro on commentary was good. Morinaro as the voice for MLP, it sounds like it's a good match. He has a lot of enthusiasm. He sounds good. When they show him, he looks like he's good and healthy. And when he's working with Don Callis, Don has always been known to work very well with people, counting if they're willing to be more energetic when they're doing announcing or commentary. So it was fine. Now, let me give it to you like this. The MLP Champion Grail, I believe, Champions Grail, I believe, that I thought was going to be a cup, but it was actually a title. So, MLP's Champions Grail Championship. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well. But if it was a staple in Maple Leaf Wrestling, they brought it back. So we had Jake something and Raju, what is the guy's name? Rajal. I'm terrible with names until I know them. That was an alright match. In fact, I felt it was one of the better matches on the show. Really, it did. It was a pretty good match. But in the end, Rasha did win. and he talked about being the new champion, and he wants the moniker Ravager Raju, I believe. I can't remember the name, but it was supposed to be RRR. Question's going to be, now that they just started this, and this is night one, the question is, how are they going to book this if they're going to do another set of shows? Which, here's the big question for me personally. You just did 2 shows. I haven't reviewed the second night 2 yet, as I've said. But the question's going to be, are they going to do more shows? Or are they going to start releasing this on YouTube and do what Billy Corgan did and start releasing their shows on YouTube in their full entirety until they can get a TV deal, unless they're going to throw everything on Thriller TV. I'm kind of hoping they will throw this on YouTube for about a few months before they just put everything on Thriller. If they're doing all Thriller, a lot of people are not going to watch it because not everyone's going to be able to get Thriller TV or be able to pay for it. Look, there are people paying for the WWE Network. There are people, Peacock in the WWE Network. There are people that's going to have to pay for Netflix when Raw comes on, if they haven't been paying. They're going to be paying the Fight TV for if they're doing like New Japan Pro Wrestling or TNA. That is a lot of shows people will have to be subscribed to. And if you really want to wet the whistle of people who may want to watch a Maple Leaf Pro, it would be wise to let at least entirety, or at least a few days after it's been seen on Thriller, release it on YouTube, because they do have a channel for that. That's just me. Moving on. We got, what can I say about this match? And there's someone, you know who you are. If you haven't seen this yet, you're going to see it. I found out where Swinger went. I noticed someone, you know who you are. I know where Johnny Swinger is. He's in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. We got Johnny Swinger and Brent versus Rohith Raju, who used to be part of Satin. What I forgot what the name of him. The Dempsey Hit Squad, and he's working with Shelton Jean. And then I think they call themselves Rogue Squadron. Then we have, I don't remember the other group. I didn't recognize them. But then we had Jet Settings. And that's supposed to be Kevin Knight and Kushida. They're currently the New Japan Pro Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. And this was like a fatal 4-way. It was a good match. But for the one that I know loves Johnny Swinger, Johnny didn't really do much, and Johnny didn't get that much jokes in, and Johnny is the one who ate the pin. Yes, Johnny ate the pin. So, as I told you, he was never going to go back to TNA. But he's now working with Scott D'Amore, where I do believe Scott will still play to his strengths as a comedic wrestler. Now, the thing is, for people who care about Johnny Swinger, which is very few, other than the person I know, if they even watch this review, you're going to have to get Thriller TV. Unless you can find a site that can do a replay, you're going to have to get Thriller. But Jet Settings still maintain the titles. They are still the New Japan Pro Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Now, let's get into this. The match that I was surprised to see. Tables match. Bully Ray versus the former Jinder Mahal. I think he's calling himself, what is he calling himself? Raj Densya. Or Densy. I think that's what he's calling himself. Raj Densy. This was, how can I say this? Unlike Johnny Swinger, who didn't really get much comedic work in during that fatal 4-way tag team match, when it came to Bully Ray, he did Bully Ray from TNA. He made it very clear his attitude was going to be Bully Ray all the way, which he was. He was even harassing the ring announcer, is a woman. I can't remember her name right now. And she was ordered to keep repeating whatever he wanted. Then we had the match. And I'm going to tell you this. It was very disappointing. It was not Bully Ray's fault. It was Raj. It was a former Jinder Mahal. Guys, I'm not against Raj. I'm not against Jinder Mahal. But the work he did in that ring, where he was very gentle with Bully Ray, Bully Ray was rough with him, but he was very, very gentle with him. I don't know if he was injured, or it's just Raj just couldn't bring himself to really being rough with Bully Ray other than slamming him. Yes, he did put him through the table, because that was the end of it. He put him through the table, but by that time, next to the... I don't know why he convinced the ref to do the Devon and do the what's up and headbutts Bully Ray between the groin, but then he gets headbutted by Raj by accident, but Raj managed to put Bully through the table. Then we get QT Marshall with looks like brass knucks in his hand, knocks him out, drags him onto the table. The ref sees him, that's it. And then Gunjur comes out to help Raj when he was getting beat up by QT Marshall and Bully Ray. I didn't like the match because, and I've seen the former Jinder Mahal. I've seen Raj wrestle. He's not that bad of a wrestler. Can he be gentle? Yes. But when it's time to be rough, he can be rough. That match, he did not look right. He did not even try to be really rough with Bully Ray through most of it. And that ruined it for me. If he had just been the way he was back in WWE, he doesn't have to be super rough, but at least show he can do the job. I don't know if he was doing it because Bully Ray was injured, or he just couldn't bring himself to really hurt Bully Ray in real life. I don't know. Now, 2 more matches. All right. Gazelle Shaw versus Yamashita. I believe that's her name. I've seen her on TNA or Impact Wrestling at one point, but she never went to the main roster. I think that was her. I think. But now both Gazelle Shaw and Yamashita, they're both MLP wrestlers now. That's what the graphics showed. It was a decent match, a little telegraphed, because I think they never really wrestled before. Well, actually, from what they said, they have wrestled multiple times, but I think they haven't wrestled in quite a while, because since they never seem to have wrestled on Impact Wrestling, I don't know if they've been wrestling most of the time when you didn't see Gazelle Shaw, so I don't know. But in that match, it looked a little bit off. They look a little bit telegraphed and a little bit off, but it wasn't a bad match. And I will tell you Gazelle Shaw won, and I'm not surprised. But I am surprised about one thing, and I'm not trying to be nasty here. I'm not trying to be... How can I explain this? Look, women who are in pro wrestling, many women who wear tops where their chest is showing a lot. They do this for the look. Counting on the style they like to wear their clothes. Gazelle Shaw likes to wear a top that is very open. And like most women, she wants you to look at her tits. But unlike most women, she didn't wear pasties over her nipples. Because at one point, just before the match was finally over, she did a Dumont to the face. Knee strike right to the face. Wiped out your Yamashita. Sorry, I believe that's her name. Wiped her out. She won the match. But when she started leaning forward, you can see her entire titty and nipple. And this is one of the problems that some women tend to do, not thinking about it. Because like Charlotte Flair, like Harley Cameron, like Bailey and a couple of other women, unlike Jordan Grace and unlike Deonna Purrazzo, and even who else was it? Also Gazelle, no, not Gazelle, Jade Cargill. Those women decided just because their clothes could slip and they could be seeing the nipples, they decided they want to paste these over the nipples. So there are women in pro wrestling that decide that I'm going to wear whatever top I want, and if my nipple and titty pops out, so be it. And others that don't do that. And Gazelle Shaw is one of those women. She don't have big tits. And when her top loosened, you can see the nipple showing clear as day. So the only reason I bring this up is that depending on how Thriller TV deals with that type of situation, sooner or later, that could come to a head if her top opens up again and is going to be not just on TV but in an arena. She may have to be told, hey, we don't want you to show nudity. Your titties are showing, cover your nipples. That means her man will have to tell her if she's still in a relationship with Scott D'Amore. Final match, the International Championship, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Kateska. This was the best match of the entire show. And it felt important. It felt good. Now, these two have wrestled before in New Japan. So, I believe it was New Japan Pro Wrestling. They've wrestled each other multiple times. So, it's good to see. I think it might have been DDT. Not New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think DDT. So, these two know how to wrestle each other. And it was a good match. I will say I enjoyed this match out of any of the other matches that was shown in the show. Excuse me. But I did not expect Speedball to win. Because as far as we've heard, there is still no agreement between AEW and TNA to work together. Even though they've allowed their talent to go to Maple Leaf Pro. Nothing about them working together since TNA is working with TKO, WWE. I don't think AEW will touch them ever. Ever, until at least they no longer a part of it. But it was still a good match. And then we see a Josh Alexander who had the first match of the night. He's going to be having another match tomorrow, which I'll probably do the review tomorrow of night 2. We'll be able to see the International Championship again defended. So it will be interesting. And I am interested in this. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Knowing how Impact Wrestling was run, I'm going to see probably most of the same type of style of Impact Wrestling and its style of production here as well. And that might be a sticking point for me because, yes, this is the first time they're putting on a show, probably with new production crew, for Scott D'Amore, and I've said it already, there's just no way you can just shit on him and the people of Maple Leaf Pro. You just can't. This is the first show they're putting on ever. But still, it reminds me of Impact Wrestling and how the production was an issue. But this is the first of the 2 shows. Maybe it'll be better on the next show. I'll probably do it tomorrow or Sunday, in between Halloween Havoc and Bound for Glory. Hope you enjoy this. Peace.